The first property that this is talking about is the commutative property. And this property just basically tells you that you can change the order when you are adding. So it wants you to solve the problem. So if you were given 3 plus 6, you would solve the problem first. And then they want you to use that property to show another way to write it. Well, another way to write it is just changing the order. So you could write it 6 plus 3, which equals 9. And that's what the property tells you. When you are adding numbers, it does not matter what order you add them in. The next piece is actually introducing you to the associative property, which tells you that you can group numbers if you want to. And so they've given you some examples, and they want you to specifically group two numbers that add up to 10, because this is a way to help you add numbers quickly. And so they've given you these numbers, and they want you to group two of them using parentheses that gives you a 10, because then you can quickly see that 8 plus 10 is going to give you that 18 as the answer, instead of just adding all the way across 8 plus 3 and then that answer plus 7. You can group them, which is basically what the next set of question is doing. So if you look at the next group of questions, it tells you to then use the associative property. And so I'm not sure if she wants you to put parentheses around them, but what she's trying to get you to do is add it in an easier way. So for example, adding those two 5s first would be a way of grouping them, and then you can quickly see that your answer is 17. And so as you go through those problems, find the easiest way to add them and put those two numbers together first, and then add the third number. So for the next part where it says write the missing number that completes the fact family, you're basically looking to fill that in with a number that would add to the second number to give you the third number. So for this example that I've put here, you have a blank, a 5, and an 8. So you could complete it with a 3, because then you're going to write all of the addition and subtraction problems that kind of go with those three numbers. For example, 3 plus 5 equals 8. And then you could reorder that. 5 plus 3 equals 8. You could use subtraction with those three numbers. You can say 8 minus 3 equals 5. And you can say 8 minus 5 equals 3. And so that is the fact family that you're trying to complete there. On somewhat the same note, you're doing that again to try to find the missing number. And so they've given you 7 plus some number equals 18, and you're going to use subtraction to solve that. You're going to take that 18, you're going to subtract the 7. 18 minus 7 is 11. And so now you have solved for the missing number. That missing number was 11. And that's what you're doing with this section. For the related rule, you're really looking for a pattern of information here. So they've given you these sets of numbers, m and n, and they have m. They're looking for an operation here, plus, minus, multiply, divide, and then some number to equal n. So for this example, if I'm looking at 3, how do I get to 8? Well, really the only way that we're going to get from 3 to 8 right now is to add 5. So then we're going to check, does that work all the way down? 7 to 12, you add 5. 10 to 15, you add 5. That is the pattern. So you're going to write that pattern in. You're going to say, well, the pattern is to add, addition, and 5. Add 5. And then they want you to complete the table using that pattern. So you would say 12 plus 5, well, that's going to give me 17. 17 plus 5, that's going to give me 22. And so I figured out my pattern and wrote that in, and then I completed the table based on that pattern that I found. For the most part, the second page is really just a repeat of the first page, so you can apply all that stuff there. The only difference that I saw on this one was drawing a line through the fact that does not belong, and you're going to think back to that fact family that we did on the first page, and so they should all be in the same groups of numbers, meaning all of the three numbers should be the same. So for example, 3 plus 5 equals 8, 8 minus 3 equals 5, 8 minus 5 equals 3. While this is a true statement, it does not match the other facts that we've been talking about. So the one I would cross out here is going to be the 9 plus 3 equals 12.